Hello my friends, welcome back to Cafe Bagheri. Who doesn't love street tacos? Now today we're gonna put a Persian touch on it. We're gonna make a street taco bar with some marinated Persian Joojeh and Chenjeh, which are chicken and beef, with some wonderful, crunchy, refreshing sides. So let's get inside and get cooking together, shall we? So the first thing we're gonna make is your saffron aioli, because it has to be made in the morning of or day before. I recommend a day or two before you're gonna enjoy those tacos. So we start with half a cup of mayonnaise and about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Grey Poupon would be preferred actually. We're going to add to that about a teaspoon of fresh squeezed lemon juice. Again, like everything else here, the recipe is available for you in the comments. We're going to mince 1 clove of garlic. Before you smash and take the paper and skin away, you want to cut the tails off because that's how the skin is held together on the clove. Wham! And just like that, all the unwanted skin and paper is off of this clove. And we're going to mince it using my trusty garlic press. Now we're going to mix all of that together. To this, we're going to add our sexy saffron solution. We're going to whisk this a little bit to make sure the saffron is well incorporated with the mustard and mayo. We're going to add some salt and pepper to taste. Now we're going to add our 1 tablespoon of olive oil in there and give it a good consistent whisk for about a minute and a half or 2 minutes. A little strange ingredient that plays a big role in this saffron aioli that I'm showing you, about a 1/4 teaspoon, just a lick of tomato paste. Now we're gonna add this to our aioli. Now what this is gonna do is gonna kind of give a little orange touch to the color and a little sweet tomatoey flair to accent to our aioli. A little more pepper. Now remember, this is 5 times better if you make it the day before and 7 times better if you make it 2 days ahead of time. So the next thing we pre-make the morning of, or preferably the day before our taco party, is the red onions. You cut the head and tail off and then you skin the onion, get the paper and outer skin off of it, cut it right in the middle through the stem like that, and then you thin slice it, okay? You do it as thin as possible. What I'm gonna do is, I have my mason jar and just basically shove it in there and make it fit. There you have it. Now we're gonna do the same with the other half. Now you wanna make sure to start with a clean jar. So we have our onion in the jar ready to go. We're going to put that aside and we're going to make our pickling solution. So half a cup of water, half a cup of white vinegar and half a cup of red wine vinegar. So now we're gonna put, it's about half tablespoon of peppercorns here. You don't need to break them up, just whole. They go in there. We put about half teaspoon of crushed red peppers. And we need some sweets. Use either honey or agave syrup if you have it. There you go. That should do it. Now I add a teaspoon of salt. I use kosher salt. I'm gonna stir all of that and bring it to a boil and then let it simmer for a couple of minutes for salt and sugar and everything to dissolve and kind of infuse together. Our pickling brine has boiled and then simmered for a couple of minutes. We're ready to put it together with the onion that's already in the jar. You put the peppercorns, hot pepper, everything, as much of it as you can get. There's no filtering involved. And the recipe has been measured to basically fill this jar. Put the lid on, kind of loosely, make sure it's ajarred. We're going to leave it here for about 15 to 30 minutes to cool down a little bit. Then we put it in the refrigerator to chill. But like anything that you pickle, it's better the next day. Like I said, this is not a long-term pickling brine. This is for maximum a week to 10 days, but it's awesome with your tacos and sandwiches. So now we're going to prepare our chicken and beef for the Persian style street tacos. I like to start by butterflying the chicken. Now let me show you something. See this breast of chicken, how it's thicker here and thinner here? It's not going to cook here if you aim to cook this thinner part, vice versa. Now butterflying the chicken is going to be needed because you want to get the marinade everywhere and get it to penetrate the meat as much as possible. Your plan of action is to open this thing up so that it's thin all across and it absorbs the marinade evenly. So what you do is, in your mind's eye, imagine this is a book that you're going to open. See, this is still thick. So we're going to go under here again and open this flap as well. You can use a meat mallet and pound this even thinner. Now I'm going to cut some of the fat away that I don't need, but I'm going to cut this into maybe 4 parts for our tacos, because then we're going to cook this, we're going to marinate these, and we're going to cook them and then slice them fajita style. So we're doing exactly the same butterflying that we did for the same reasons for the beef. So we're going to pretty much aim to go right in the middle and open this up so it's kind of thinner across. Making it thinner like this does 2 things. It absorbs the marinade better, and it cooks faster and more evenly. Look at that. See, we just open that up, cut this in half as well so it's easier to manage right there. So our beef and chicken are butterflied and prepared. We're going to be marinating them in the same marinade that we use for our Joojeh Kabob. If you haven't checked it out in our video on the channel, please go ahead and do that. So before we add our vegetable oil to the marinade, we're going to add garlic. We're going to add some minced garlic. By the way, this is the only ingredient that is not in the Joojeh Kabob recipe. Now, we're going to add enough vegetable oil for both chicken and the beef. I use grapeseed oil, which is a neutral oil, and I use for a lot of my cooking instead of actual vegetable, canola, or olive oil. Don't marinate this meat from the night before. You don't want that much time. But anywhere from an hour to half a day. We're also going to make a refreshing, crisp Shirazi salad, and we do have a video for that on our YouTube channel. You can go ahead and check it out. There is a recipe in the comments below that video. The next item we're going to make is an onion sumac slaw. It's a perfect side or salad and also great as a topping. Okay, so we're going to start with the main ingredient, in my view, which is parsley. Okay, you get about a cup full of just the leafy parts. Chop this very finely. You can use regular parsley or Italian parsley. It doesn't matter. Chop it as fine as possible. I'm trying to get about a cup full of packed chopped parsley. Okay, see, so it's about a cup full packed. That's almost a cup. And we're gonna add a little more. We're gonna thinly slice 1 medium to large size white onion. You can make this slaw with red onions as well. It's just as good. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut in half right through the stem and cut it in little croissant shaped slices. We're going to separate these in To that, we're going to add 1 tablespoon full of fresh squeezed lemon juice, 1 tablespoonful of just olive oil. Now we're going to add some sumac to this slaw, about 2 to 4 tablespoons of ground sumac. It's got a tangy, sour taste that goes real well, creates a contrast. We're going to add more. This is the look and the texture you're going for. We're going to add some salt to this and some fresh ground black pepper. You can pre-make this up to 2-3 days in advance and just leave it in the fridge. So our chicken and beef have been marinating for over an hour now. Beautiful early winter day. We have the grill preheated. I'm going to apply some olive oil to the grates. So we're going to get as much of the marinade off of the meat as possible. If you need to, you can use a paper towel. Just make sure you get all the onions off. And then just slap the pieces of chicken. And you want to be on high to medium high. Plan is to go about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. Throw this down. There you go. This is pretty much the cooking method is fajita style, the Southwest cooking, if you've ever done that. Now we're going to put the pieces of steak. There you go. If you noticed, we didn't put any salt or pepper in the marinade because salt tends to toughen the meat. So we apply the salt and pepper while we're cooking. I use kosher salt, but you can use table salt. Add some pepper. Now we're going to close this. Don't bother, you don't need to flip it back and forth. At least 4 to 5 minutes. I would stay 5 minutes because it's a cold day outside. Then flip it, apply some more salt and pepper. Then it comes off of the grill and we will let it rest for a few minutes and slice it against the grain. Now, I want to show you what we're going to serve this street taco on. If you're having a street taco downtown LA or Tucson, you're liable to get it on a corn or flour tortilla. For our Persian style street tacos, we're going to serve it on lavash bread. Check this out. These guys, I get a kick out of this. Look at this. It's like a super jumbo sized wrap or tortilla. Look at that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in several pieces to line our serving platter. This bread will soak up all the goodness and juice that's coming off of the grilled meat. And that's something people fight over. That's supposed to be a delicacy. We're gonna cut other pieces to create our tacos. Now, if you didn't have lavash, you couldn't find it or didn't like it, you could use flour or corn tortillas. The same matter. You put a few tortillas on your serving platter, under your meat, and then you have some in the plate to create your tacos with. So our meat is ready, our sides and condiments are ready. I have my lavash bread. I think I'm gonna start with the wonderful saffron aioli, okay? This, you put a lick of this on your tortilla or lavash, like so. I'm going to put a few strings of this pickled onion, ever crunchy and refreshing Shirazi salad. At this point, I like to put the meat on. Let's start with chicken, shall we? And then I'm gonna put some onion sumac slaw with a little tanginess of sumac and the taste of parsley that I love so much. What is a Persian taco without some feta, some salty feta? This is, of course, Bulgarian feta. Now, this guy here is a cucumber pickle. I get it from Persian store and they come from California. It's Sadaf brand, and no, they don't pay me any consideration for this, but it's a great product. Pickled cucumbers. This one's a little spicy, believe it or not. All you do is you just wrap this and go to town. The contrast, the grilled meat with the saffron, the crunchiness from the pickles, onions, and then of course the Shirazi salad has the crunchy and the coolness in there, with the feta providing the right amount of salty contrast. This is an awesome, awesome taco. Do make these at home, and as always, send me a picture at Cafe Bagheri on Instagram. I like to see what they look like. Thank you for spending this time with me. Please like this video, share it. If you haven't yet, subscribe and hit that little bell button so we can keep in touch as always. And I'll see you right back here at Cafe Bagheri.